Welcome to another one of my weekend walk and talks. Thank you for joining again. It's exciting. It is a good day. Fiona's happy. I got my coffee. Fiona's got a lot of people petting her at the coffee shop, so she's super happy. Also met a dog who I think is now her best friend ever, so that's an amazing thing. Today I wanted to touch on your feelings or how you feel differently after almost life-ending event, because I've definitely been feeling differently towards things. So much so that I've taken to talking to people about it and finding people, I don't feel bad. I'm not depressed or anything, thankfully, because apparently that can sometimes happen. But when something affects you in the way that it affected me and almost takes your life, at least for me, I'm starting to think about things differently. What do I mean by that? Well, there's family things and then there's work things. The family things, I'll go over first. Just caring more about spending time with your family. Not to say that I didn't, but I feel quite differently about it. Like, I thought I was spending time with my family, but I'm starting to realize that I wasn't spending enough time with my family. I was always one of those people, even from before I had my own business, where I would be on the computer on weekends. I would be doing things for a business or clients and just trying to find improvements and do better things. Sitting down and trying to find, new tool sets, things to make things go better so that way I can have more time for the family, which the irony there is that you're spending the weekends trying to improve the business and thinking that you're going to make it better for your family, which you're not. And I guess that's my big takeaway there, is to be more now. Morning. And less thinking about the future. Just be more focused in the now. Case in point, just the other week we dropped off our daughter at college for her sophomore year, and I was just so happy and glad to have been a part of that, because I almost wasn't a part of that, and I never would have known not being a part of it. I almost wasn't, and I was every single day just trying to make sure that I was really living in the now and soaking up every single day with her while she drove to her college, her longest drive ever, by herself. Well, not really by herself. I mean, I was sitting next to her, but you know what I mean. Her longest drive ever. And just spending that time with her. Because I do remember, my time with my dad and my time with my mother when I was younger. And I always remember the times that we were together and the times that we were having fun. And it's always the time that I remember, not necessarily the gifts I got at Christmas or, the tchotchkes or the things that maybe we got when we went on vacations. I would always just remember the time and either having a good time or whatnot. So just trying to be more focused there. And instead of thinking about the future and thinking like, oh, I need to commit myself to the weekend to do something over, and try to improve my work life, just saying, you know what, I've been doing this now for 30 plus years. It's time when I take the weekends and make them about the family and myself. I know hustle culture was big. I think in certain circles it may still be. I don't know. I'm thinking a lot differently about that. And I guess I just kind of mixed in the business with personal. So personal, just to recap, just making sure I'm spending more time with the family, and that time is super focused and I'm in the present. Now, when it comes to work, spending work time during work time and actually creating those boundaries, which I thought I did in the past, but now I'm understanding that I didn't. I stressed out too much. I didn't delegate enough. Thought I did. I definitely did not. I am now, because I had no choice. But I handed off a lot of the delegation and responsibilities of people contacting me directly to other people in the team, which has helped immensely. Because I started the business and I started out as a technician, People were always used to contacting me directly, either through phone, email, text. They would just send me the requests, and then I would do it because I would think, shouldn't take that long. I'll just go ahead and do it. And sometimes that works out, but most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time it takes way longer than I think it does, or way longer than I thought it would. And I just should have given it to someone else to do it because, like everybody does, you got to move on and move up. My focus is mentoring the team. My focus is training the team up so they could be awesome and they can go to the next level. It's really hard to do, though, when you start out as a technician. I listen to a lot of podcasts about IT business owners. It just seems like it's a lot easier if you start an IT business and you're not the technician. Maybe you're an accountant and you start an IT business and then you have an IT person that works under you or is maybe a partner. But it just seems like they have it a wee bit easier. And I think it's because you don't get so emotional about it. And also, I think a lot of IT people like me are perfectionists, and it's really hard for us to say we can't do something, or it's really hard for us to say no, because we want to please the customers, please the people that we're working with, because that's just kind of how we're wired. I think a great majority of technicians are wired like that. So long story short, how has my thought process changed? Well, I'm really thinking a lot about what I'm doing on the weekends. I still like doing this weekend walk and talk podcast, my basically diary of an IT business owner. Still like going for my walks. I can't run yet. That's okay. That'll happen again someday. But I enjoy this. And I just enjoy sharing these thoughts with anyone that wants to listen, really. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll just entertain. Obviously, don't listen to everything I'm saying because you got your own world to live in. We all do. And hopefully it just is entertaining, if nothing else. But it's been quite the ride and the journey for me. That is for sure. One of the eye-opening moments was understanding that I was always chasing the carrot. And then what this has taught me is that the carrot's actually right in front of my face every single day. There's no real future carrot. I know I may lose some people on this one, but I don't believe there's a carrot worth chasing. I think every day is our own carrot, and that as long as we live in the now and we enjoy what's happening in the now, and we appreciate it. And I went out there, I started looking at, do other people with TBIs, which is a traumatic brain injury, or heart attacks, or cardiac arrest, or stroke, have, changes like this? And I think the one that I can look at the most as being almost identical to what happened to me is Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser TV show a while back. And it's almost identical what he dealt with. He was at a gym, even though I was running on a trail. And then he wakes up in a hospital a few days later. They did some things to him they didn't do to me, like they put him in a coma. They didn't do that to me. But just watching a couple of his interviews, he said his whole philosophy on life just started to change. And I think that's how I'm starting to feel too, where my whole way of thinking is starting to change, where I'm being much more appreciative of things in the now, not so much in the future, not thinking of the future, but instead looking at my health, looking at the things I'm doing now, which is not what I did before. I would always train for marathons. I would work after hours and sometimes on weekends to what I thought was improve the business or do projects. But now I realize that all those things that I used to do after hours to improve the business, I really need to give to everyone else to do. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to bust my ass. I'm the owner of a company. But what it means is I just need to bust my ass the right way. And that's not by doing the work that I used to do or have been doing now for 15 years in this business. So just a different way of thinking and spending more time for myself so that way I can live for another 30 years healthily. And on that note, thank you for listening if you got to this point. And as I'm always saying lately, make sure that you get out, go for a quick walk, just to get away from your computer, whether you're in an office building or working out of your house. And now I can safely say that the doctors believe it's the only thing that really helped me was getting out and being active and being so active and healthy. Until next time, take care.